Let's face it, the threat of warfare is the greatest danger our nation has ever known.
Chat. Thanks for coming to Arctic Horde Wargaming. Today we have a match between Josh and Mitch. Josh brought the Thousand Suns and Mitch brought his Orks. But before we get into this, if you hit that subscribe button, it's over here in the corner somewhere, I'd appreciate that. And stick around to the end. The guys have a really nice sit and chat. They talk about the game, they meander off into list building. Josh talks about the tournament we went to last weekend and he won first place in, so that's kind of cool. Also, we got some new lights up in the studio, so I don't know, it's a little brighter in here. I kind of like it. And now, stick around for the show, folks. Here we go. Rolling for scenario.
Yep.
Floor dice.
Never fails. I rolled 1.
Hey, right on.
3, 1 to 1. Rise of the Overrun.
We're only see who sets up first.
I do, it looks like.
Well, you get to choose. Is you the attacker or the defender?
Well, you're Orcs, so it seems more fitting that you would be the attacker here.
Very well. You are the defender. You get to choose your side and deploy first.
I'll pick this side, because...
Very well. Today's mission is from the Grand Tournament 2021 Strike Force. And our match is 31. Overrun. Two forces are converging on the battlefield at breakneck speed, determined to smash aside their foes and take control of this region in one fell swoop. If one side can break through the other's spearhead before support forces can establish a beachhead, the enemy's front will be completely overrun. Primary objectives are to control 2 or more objectives, control 3 or more, or control more objectives than their opponent. The secondary objective. You score a number of victory points at the end of your command phase if you control 1 or more objective markers that are within your opponent's territory, as shown in the table below.
What page is that on?
Page is 48 of the chapter approved Grand Tournament 2021 mission pack.
Greeting you gits, it's me, Mitch, and I's back with me Orky boys. We're gonna start from this side of the field and work our lovely way down here. So, to start us off, we've got a group of 3 war bikers. Entirely standard. They've got the ducker guns and that's it. Behind them, we've got the Squigog boys. Ain't they beautiful? They sit there, they've got their Skittle Squigs, and they've got the Bomb Squig. They've got their spears and theirs as the points values that you get out of the book. Behind them, we've got the knob on the Smasher Squig. He's no relics, no nothing. He counts as being nothing because I've got them, so he's in a non-organised force slot. Then we've got the creme de la creme. One of the big boys on the Great White Squigosaur. I have spent a command point to give him a relic and a warlord trait. Well, actually no, only on the warlord trait he's getting the relic. He's got Ed Whopper's Kill Chopper to make him even better, and he's brutal but cunning. He wants to get stuck in and always stuck in. He's fighting first. Coming down the line, we've got a set of 5 knobs. They are WYSIWYG. They've got their big choppers. They've got 1 combi shooter with rocket launcher and 1 combi shooter with the flamer. Going down the line, we've got a shooter boys squad, as seen here. 1 big shooter, 1 pistol. 1 pistol, power claw, and they're all set up with their shooters. Coming down the line, we've got the Beast Snagger boys squad. They are as they are set up with their shooters and their choppers. And then they've also got one boy in there with the thump gun. Back here we've got the Morkanaut with his all his glory. He's got nobody in it. He's just going in to have fun and go smash some stuff with all his guns and greatness. And here we've got 20 horrible gits. They just absolutely smell terrible. They'll be holding the home point. Then we've got red squad, same as green squad, thump gun, shooters and choppers. Behind the terrain piece being all sneaky like, we've got the Rucker Truck Squig Buggy. And it is upgraded to have the Nitro Squigs. So we're just going to go boom, and it's going to be a great big boom against these dusty boys. Coming down here is the second Shooter Boys squad. And they're set up the same as the first squad. And coming downtown here we've got 5 Mega Nobs. 2 of which have the custom shooters with the combi shooters with the rocket launchers. 3 of them, 3 have the combi rockets, 2 have the combi flamers. And they all equipped with the kill saws. Behind them, the warlord, the creme de la creme, me big mech. And he is equipped with his custom mega blaster, and he's giving it a custom job, so I'm always firing a minimum of 2 shots. He has the warlord trait as the opportunist. You get within 12 inches and he can blast the characters to smithereens. And next to him is the Death Dread, set up with his mega claws and his custom mega blasters, with the big mech coming in just to make sure that if he does get a little hot, he can get repaired. And this is a total of 2,000 points on the nose for the Death Skulls of Schmorks.
Alright, hello, my name is Josh, and today I'll be playing the Thousand Sons of Magnus, but he's missing today. Over on this side, we've got, to start us off, we got a Chaos Rhino filled with 10 Warp Flamer rubrics. We've got 3 Chaos Spawn, ready to just run in and try and murder some things. And then we get to the Vanguard of the Force. We've got 10 Terminators here, 2 with Soul Reaper cannons and with the rocket launchers on their back. Here we've got our Terminator Sorcerer Lord, who has Gaze of Hate and Baleful Devolution to try and, blow up some of these orc boys. Then we got the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Armin, leading, there to buff all of his friends and make them work better. Over here we've got our Infernal Master, who is our Warlord, and he'll have the Seeker of Shadows to give us more Cabal points to work with, and Psychic Actions abilities. Next we've got 14 Zangors to just kind of be annoying. Then we have our Exalted Sorcerer on disc, who will also have one of our Warlord traits of Arrogance of Aeons, so he can do 2 Kabbalistic Rituals, and he can reroll Denies, but there's no Psychers over there. He also has the relic, the Athenian Scrolls, so once per game I can select a spell that he knows to roll 3d6 and pick 2. The spells, he is also our Haughty Sorcerer, so he can cast 3 spells and deny 1. He's got Tzeentchy's Firestorm and Doombolt. And then we've got over here, we've got 5 rubrics, just standard bolters with 1 Soul Reaper cannon and Icon of Flame. Then last we have another Rhino with another 10 squad of Flamer rubrics. And then the last thing I forgot to mention, the Sorcerer Terminator Lord also has an additional relic, the Warp Weave Mantle, which if he gets wounded, he can get a +1 to his Psychic tests, and any unmodified charge roll of a 9 or higher automatically fails. So that is my 2,000 points on the nose as well of Thousand Sons. So for playing Thousand Sons, you get just mono Thousand Sons. You get a bonus during your Psychic phase based on the units and the characters that you bring. Generate a resource called Cabal Points, which you can use for various Kabbalistic rituals, which implement during your Psychic phase. You can do, add to your tests, make tests undeniable. You can generate command points. There's a bunch of different things you can get for just playing Thousand Sons. And different characters generate different values. Units generate values, and Icons of Flame, which used to be just terrible, now actually generate Cabal points, so they're actually worth taking now. And you just and it just makes your psychic phase more destructive.
To go first,
I rolled a 1.
I's got a 4. Oh, it starts with the Orks on turn 1. Alright, Orks. Turn uno. So far we'll just kind of peruse down the line here. Fired off with the custom Mega Zapper into them rusty dusty boys. Took down 3 of them. The other squads weren't in range to do much shooting, save for Shooter Squad and other Shooter Squad. They shot, they got 2 goats. Rocket Truck Squeaky Buggy fired, it got a goat. Not much else besides eventually taking them out with a thump gun there. Nobody else was really in range, and the bikes did some damage over here on his beasties, but what do you expect with orc shooting? We's not here for a good shooting time. We's here for the krumpin.
So the bikes did...
The bikes did the damage here on... Oop, apologies. I'll put you right back where you were. Sorry there. But did the damage to him. And that's it. So far.
And we killed a Terminator.
Oh, yes, yes. It was a lucky rocket shot from down in the nobs here over into the Terminator squad, and they were able to wink out a kill on one.
Alright, we're gonna go into Tzeentchy, turn 1.
Alright, so due to some heights and whatnot, he can see them, they can't, well, they can see his head. So it's fair, but for everyone else that is not on a platform or taller, this is line of sight blocking. But if you can see over it, like seeing over the bar, you can do shenanigans.
And then, so what are we saying? Same thing about the other pieces of terrain on the table, correct?
Yeah, true line of sight basically is what I think.
Yeah, true line of sight required. Like if the Morkanaut can see the tank, it can shoot the tank. If it can see that tank, it shoots the tank. Whatever you can see, barring the terrain, is what you can shoot.
So, sort of a rough start for the Thousand Suns. Psychic phase, we did some damage off of the guys in the middle, killed a couple models, but the Death Skull's 5-up ignore kind of made it hard to chew through some of it, and didn't roll well.
So which guys did you end up killing with what?
So he killed 3 guys off of the red squad here, and then, actually 5 guys off the red squad. He did a whole whopping 2 guys out of this squad, and that was all of the damage dealing I did. He mutated landscape here. He mutated landscape here after casting, and then he did raise the banners there. They raised the banners here. These guys gave themselves better flamers, and nothing much to actually speak of for the Thousand Sun Psychic phase, which is sad. Shooting phase, our flamers over here shot into the Squig Hog boys and killed a whole whopping 1 boy. And then in melee over here, our Chaos Spawn managed to kill the 3 bikers and kind of form a wall for their friends. Our Rhino just drove up to fill in the gap and hold this objective. Terminators moved up. They put some shots downrange, killed 3 of the knobs, killed a bunch of the boys here, and managed to just kind of I fired the rockets into the Morkanaut and just kind of plinked off his armor. This Rhino killed a whole whopping 1 guy here. And these flamers dropped the Death Dread down to... did 3 wounds or dropped him to 3 wounds?
It dropped him to 3 wounds.
Dropped him to 3 wounds. And so that was the gist of the Thousand Suns turn. Did some damage, but we're about to get some damage taken back, I think. Didn't get as much kills as we were hoping.
Alright, we're gonna go to Orks, turn 2. And I think they're gonna do what? Okay, so Orks, turn 2, you're gonna do what?
Warg!
Which allows you to what?
It allows me to move, advance, and charge all in the same turn.
Right on.
These dusty boys is gonna get crump.
At the end of the movement phase, the Grot Oiler is going to sacrifice himself.
And now is the battle of war! We are in the charge phase. Red squad charging a rhino. They're in. Green squad on a rhino. Daisy. Squighog boys on the last beastie boy. There. Knob on the Smasher Squig going downtown for the other squad of flamey boys.
And we're gonna Overwatch.
Okay. And he hits, he's in.
Oh, wait, we'll do Overwatch.
And then the Squigger, and then the Beast Boss on the Squigosaur is going in. And he is in as well. So we've got everybody in. So he's getting overwatched. Ugh. And he's coming in after the overwatch. We'll clean that up because we've got dead bodies in the way.
Okay, so because this is actually such a different battle because of the stuff that's on the table here, there's a lot of shooting and close combat, and I know that's normal for some games, kind of, but there's just more of it here because of the matchup with the Orks. Yeah, like that. So I'm going to do this round summary a little bit differently. We're going to go this camera angle here. We're going to start at the top of the table and work towards this. So if you want to go ahead, Mitch.
All right, so the Death Dread fired into, what are these?
Rubrics.
The rubric remains. He took out some, not really epically, he took out one or two. The Meganobs fired in all their weapon systems. Didn't do a heck of a lot more. They took another 2. And then my war boss back here, on the end of the movement phase, repaired the Death Dread back up to 7 wounds, and then fired his custom Mega Blaster and taking out another 2 or 3, leaving us with 3 Rubric Marines there. The Beast Snaga boys and the Shooter boys fired into the goats, leaving them down to a goat. No, actually left them down to 2 goats. And then they were done. The Rocket Truck Squig Buggy fired into the Terminators, killing 1. The Grots did nothing but hold the point. The Mokanot fired into the goats, and then fired into the Beasts of Tzeentchy, splitting his fire with his twin big shooters, hitting and killing 1, and then hitting and killing another 1. The combined fire of the shooter squad went into the Rubric Marines. They didn't really do anything. These guys fired into the Terminators. They didn't do anything. They then charged in the charge phase and fight phase, charged in, and were able to grind down this Rhino, and it did not explode. In the shooting phase down here for the last remaining 2 knobs, they fired into the Beast Squad, killing another one, or wounding another one enough to where it was dead, allowing the knob on Smash the Squig to charge the Rubric Marines, and then with the big Beast Boss on Squigosaur also sneaking through that hole, was able to charge, and they were able to... The Rubric Marines, to their credit, brought him down to 1 wound remaining with a bunch of flaming Overwatch. That was scary.
That's why I run them.
And we were able to take out the squad with Ed Whopper's Kill Chopper. And that is the lay of the land at the top of turn 2. We now go to the Tzeentchy boy Tzeentchy's sons to see what they can pull out of their witchy bumhoes.
Not a lot. I score 0 primary. So we pulled back a little bit just to kind of get some separation from all that scariness over there. They mutated the point, and then they unloaded their fire into these guys to get me just to clear them and get the rhino a little bit of breathing room, which fell back just to kind of create a wall for him. Side characters over here. Well, that was it for this side. So over on this side, he's on the other side of the table now, but the sorcerer jumped over here, tried to deal with some of these characters. We got the knob on the Smash the Squig in the psychic phase. The Terminator got the last wound off, and then failed to do anything with Baleful Devolution again. The Exalted Sorcerer tried to blow him up, and then spent a command point to teleport back out of the fight, 'cause didn't want to fight that thing. Armin just dropped all of his buffs out. And then the Terminators tried to shoot him, and then the guys in front of them and the shooter boys off. Didn't do much of anything to him. I think we did, what, 2 wounds? Mm-hmm. And then finished off this squad of boys in shooting and in melee. And then plinked off a couple of the shooter boys in the back. And that was all the Thousand Sons were able to do. They're in a tight spot at the moment.
What's the score currently?
The current, I have it at... Well, you scored grind them down again. Mm-hmm. And 4 for the Door of the Witch.
No.
I don't have one I get for the gets.
I've got 6 from Get.
So it is currently 36 to 18.
All right, here we go. Orks, turn 3.
Alright, it is the top of turn 3, Orcs turn 3, and we's won through sheer krumpin. So, we's moved. The boys shot into the Rubric Marines, taking them down to a man.
No, they died.
Yeah,
Oh.
They laid them low. The Death Dread advanced and fired into the Rhino, killing it. My Warlord, the Big Mech, advanced to get around the block and then fired upon the Sorcerer, the Exalted Sorcerer, and annihilated him with a couple custom Mega Blasting shots. These boys shot and did nothing. They didn't even fire. Oh no, they did. They fired into the Terminators and they failed. They sat and held the point. These boys fired and did nothing. These boys fired, did nothing. These boys threw a spear and maybe did a wound. The Morkanaut fired his big shooters, his rocket launchers, and the custom Mega Blaster into them, and then proceeded to take the custom Mega Zapper, the lovely giant cannon here, and annihilate his Warlord, and then proceeded to charge in the charge phase and smacked Ahriman once. Ahriman saved 3 of these massive claws coming down to stomp on him, and then finally the 4th broke his shield and crushed him flat. They failed their charge on the Terminator Lord because they got over a 9, and then the Beast Boss on Squigosaur came in with Ed Whopper's Kill Chopper and chopped him up into nice tasty bits for the boys. And that is how turn 3
And
ends.
the game.
And the game ends in an Orc victory against the sorcery boys of dust and snow.
We can call it what it was, a crushing victory of the Thousand Sons. Well played, sir.
You too. I wasn't expecting the shenanigans, especially the points.
Yeah, the Kabbalistic rituals are, like, you can get a lot of really cool stuff with them. Like...
I was actually more scared of these guys than the Grey Knights.
Well, the final score is 94-22.
Is that including paint?
Yes.
Oh wow, you can disinclude paint on mine if you want. Yeah, it's I'm definitely a lot more scared of Thousand Suns because one, I haven't played against, like, at our store over in Champlain, there isn't a Thousand Suns player, so I haven't played against them. So I was walking into what shenanigans can these guys do? Because if the Grey Knights have this, they probably have equivalent shenanigans, the cult rituals and whatnot. That threw me for a loop. So like, wait, how are you? What?
So yeah, and they work really sweet because like, for like, all right, so your spell goes off on a 6. I rolled a 5. After you roll it, you can be like, well, I'm gonna spend a few, and we're gonna get it to that number because you add on after you roll the dice and see what you get, and then like you can make a spell undeniable, which is big in like a Grey Knights matchup where it's just like, I'm gonna turn your invuln off and you can't deny me.
Yeah.
But it's a definitely valuable resource, and I definitely think it's worth going mono Thousand Suns for.
Yeah.
Impressively, I didn't fail a single psychic test all game.
Yeah, that was a bit worrying for me when it was like, wait, he's just did it, and I went for a Whore of the Witch, so I have no way to deny it, save for the invuln that the Death Skulls get, which, like, everybody...
Yeah, I feel no pain. You got a lot of mileage out of it. It also didn't help that those shooter boys should have died. That is the only salty moment I have about this game. 25 dice, and I didn't get a single 6.
We's the lucky blue gates.
That's true.
what We's is. And
That's what
we
it was.
couldn't have been playing on a better battlefield, you know. It's all blue.
Yeah, the Terminators definitely tanked, for the most part, fairly well, but, like, even they just couldn't make their saves.
Yeah, the surprising amount of how quickly the rubrics fell.
Well, you have a lot of 2 damage weapons between that and that. It was just like, you can make modifications to it, and normally 20 flamer rubrics is not common, but I like them. They're a lot of fun to just, because you have like, you didn't obviously have any, but like you got the Overwatch, and you were afraid of that because they got you down to 1.
Yeah.
1 more fail, and you're like, well, but like. It's really fun because you can get, because they're psychers, you basically, you can advance, they're assault weapons, so you can advance forward, you can flamethrower something, you can fire Overwatch, or have your opponent...
Pretty much, like, for my shooter boys, they don't have an invuln built in like the Beast Snagga boys, which eventually took you turns to wipe them out. You would have, if you had advanced, charged, and then flamed, you would have wiped them.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the flamers are T5, right?
This side was not. That side over there did because
so T4, T5.
Because
so
I was shooting into strength. I was shooting into toughness 6. So
yeah,
like
that's what really kind of.
So it wouldn't have made a difference getting it +1. Or that over there, it made
the T5 alone, like going up against like standard Space Marines when they only have strength 4 bolt weapons.
Well, the Terminators, they had strength 5 the whole game from the Infernal Master, but.
And if let's say your Infernal Master didn't get that off, there would have been less done by the.
I would have spent the command point for it because you can act the way that because to active turn player you can to start a command phase stuff, assuming that the TO from the 1 GT I went to was not wrong. Mm-hmm. So you can you can do your litany. If you fail it, you can spend a command point and just basically go poke, do 1 damage to the Terminators, and then they heal it.
The only thing that I would like, there's a few things because I have a few extra models that I have to build out that I would eventually test out, is take the Morgonaut out because that's 380 points.
Oh yeah, well they're 450.
The 380 points for 24 wounds, a 6-up invuln, and yeah.
I didn't have any early on. I got put into a tough spot, so I couldn't I had stuff that I could shoot into it, but it was just one of those things of I can't answer it now. I have to deal with this stuff.
Yeah, because the bikes, the first squad you took out. The bikes are there. I keep them in the list as a pure sacrificial. Just whoop.
Well, like I moved the flamers up and just ignored those and just basically...
Yeah, went for the Beast Snega boys.
And the Chaos Spawn, basically, all they were doing over here was to be a distraction, so they just were like, alright, well, we'll charge the bikes and just... Because I felt, when they're T5, you know, I felt I could kill those.
Yeah.
But... And they did, which was, I think, the only thing I really killed for... Besides 2 units of boys.
Yeah. You got the bikes, you got the knob on the Smasher Squig. You've got the 1 Squighog boy, and yeah, that's and a couple knobs, and you took out a couple knobs and a couple boys.
Yeah, no, I'm at like full squads. I didn't kill much.
So what do you think about the tournament in general that you went to yesterday? If you want to talk about that a little bit.
So I went to a RTT over in New Richmond, Wisconsin yesterday, which is my local store over there.
What's the name of the store?
The Gathering Games. It's right on Main Street in New Richmond. Kind of just past the McDonald's if you're heading down the road towards the Walmart. So my first round, that was, 11 Hive Guard. Everybody knows that's going to sting. I ended up only having I almost feel like I really had I was in that game, I had a lot left at the end of the game, but I lost 8 of my Terminators in one go from the Hive Guard, and then he failed a 4-inch charge to kill the last 2 with no command point to reroll it.
That is one thing I noticed is yours eats command points, where I can eat command points.
Oh, Thousand Suns is a super command intensive army. I can just burn through them between
I think turn 1 you could have burned through them all.
I could have. I pulled back a little bit. But yeah, you could between the new veterans of the Long War, the reduced damage on those, which brought your 3 damage weapons down to 2 against the Terminators. So I had to spend it, and I still ended up losing 4 of them on the first turn.
Yeah, because just the Morkanaut itself is a beastly amount of damage, and the only thing I'd sub it out for would be flash kits in a truck.
Oh yeah, the flash kits are good.
Especially, and that's what I would be sinking my command points into is each turn. Oh yeah, you're gonna fire at this one in 36 inches, and then fire again at this.
Oh yeah, their shooting is good.
Considering they have 4-up shooting, one of the few things that has 4-up shooting.
But no, so he failed that 4-inch charge, and then I basically the next turn I wiped out. So I hit 11, and I think I killed 8 of them, and the last 3 were still in combat. So that was his army done more or less, because all he had left at that point, because the Gene Stealers he failed to charge with just disappeared. Because yeah, they got flamethrowed, and that was the end of that. And then the other units just kind of all went back, and the guy that jumped over here, he went into his psychic phase went into the 1 unit of Hive Guard, killed 4 out of the 5. The second round, I got to play Raven Guard successor with a bunch of. It was not the most optimal list, but Salt Centurions still hurt when they get that move and just go India. But that was the game where the Terminators shone and just tanked everything and just chopped through.
Well, the amount that you throw on them from the
for the buffs,
yeah, from Ahriman on the
most games I spread it out a little bit. I don't normally the first game against the Tyranids, I put the -1 on a different squad, and then the Terminators got the better invuln. And then some games I'll put if I normally run a 5-man squad for the Chaos Spawn, I like to give them the 4-up invuln, just because they have a 5-up base save and no invuln. They're the only army, one of the few things in the book that don't get the army who had 5-up invuln. So the second round, the Raven Guard, he did he collapsed one side of the board with a bunch of Blade Guard and shooting, but the other side was I had 10 rubrics in the Terminators, and they just walked through all of his characters and his chaplain, I don't remember all he had there. He had the Centurions, the 2 units of intercessors, the eliminators that he had, and it was just like he couldn't keep up because he had a psyker. Thousand Suns have a secondary, which is why I was like, do you have a psyker? This would be great. So they have a psyker where it's basically grind them down. But did I kill more models in the psychic phase than you? So he had a psyker, so I killed more. So I killed 15 point,
That was
automatic
based
15 basically.
on, that was just killing more models, not units.
Models in the psychic phase.
And I am glad that I build my lists mostly, like, I play Admech, I play Dark Angels, and I play Orks, and I'm building a Custodes list.
And then there's the flip side of it. What do I play? I have Craft Worlds, Thousand Suns, Grey Knights, and Demons.
So Psychic versus non-Psychic.
And then I have the only Chaos army I don't actually own is Death Guard. I chaos everything. And then I randomly have Gene Stealer Cult.
I used to play the Great Fish commies, but I was like, no, I want to play in the
You
Imperium.
like having friends.
I wanted to play in the Imperium, and Admech had just dropped, and I'm like, well, I'm getting Skitarii.
I actually finally started another Imperium army because I originally played Space Wolves a long, long, long time ago.
There's too many Space Wolves up here.
That's part of why. Well, it was just like this. I got rid of them in 8th edition before the supplements. So Space Wolves were super hot dookie because they hadn't got the second codex yet either. So they were, they were both, the worst army in the game.
We have Ultramarines down here at the bottom. We have everyone else, Space Wolves, Dark Angels, First Legion Forever.
So how about round 3?
So round 3 was the hardest game of the day. I got to play Black Templars, and I got first turn, the only round of the tournament I got first turn. I made it wasn't a bad idea at the time, but then it became a bad idea. So one of my units of rubrics went over here. We were playing priority target, so I was trying to, just kind of, the objective on the bottom of the map over here. So I was trying to kind of hold that and remove that flank a little bit. And he played kind of cagey with some of the, we had the terrain, we had player place terrain, which a lot of tournaments have been going to lately. I did too, but he leveraged it in a way that you had 2 buildings, and my Rhino fit perfectly between the 2, so all of his Redemptors couldn't get through, which ended up slowing him down considerably, because the Redemptor and Halbrecht couldn't punch through it in one go.
I do like the idea of the Rhinos because it did slow me down on that flank. A lot. And
the fact that, Thousand Suns have, in my opinion, the best Rhinos in the game. Because Rhinos for Thousand Suns have a built-up 5 in that army-wide 5-up invuln. So they can be really tanky. And you can, pop smoke and stuff.
They've got a Terminator's invuln.
Yeah.
So, tournament result?
So the first round, I went 3-0, and the other person that went 3-0 played Grey Knights, so Psychers win the day. I ended up with a final total of the day, I think, was 287 points. With the last round was the final score of 91-88.
That would burn. That would burn being bad.
And the only reason I won is the Zangors that you absolutely butchered through tar pitted him in the middle of the table for 2 turns. So he lost 6 points of Stranglehold for not being able to kill the goats, and I stole his priority target twice.
Well,
so he lost 6 points there.
Black Templar don't do shooting very well.
No, well that's on the contrary. The 3 Redemptors killed all 10 Terminators in his first turn.
Oh.
So 10 Terminators and 10 Rubrics lost in the first battle round. I had to play uphill all game. I had to play uphill really hard. So it was a very difficult match.
Well, and the reason why I referenced the tournament is because this is the exact same list that you ran yesterday.
Yes, it was the same list. I would make some changes. Some of the stuff that got put into my list was mostly just because, hey, it's painted! Which funny, some of the stuff that actually I put in the list because, hey, it's painted, actually, the Zangors actually pulled their weight. This guy that the 9-inch charge thing, that relic is really annoying and very entertaining.
It stops the long bomb charges.
Well, anything out of Deep Strike automatically can't charge him.
Oh, it's not why I've run my Terminator list, and it's one of those to where it's not worth it for me to try and charge on the first turn. I
No.
rather land, shoot, and then wait a turn because Dark Angels Terminators, they're thick.
Oh, they're so
durable, and then it's just I move my 5. Either you had to move backwards, or if you stayed there, I move my 5. Now I have a 4-inch charge, and it's just boop, I'm in.
Oh yeah, I actually played a similar list, closer to the one that I originally sent you. Actually against a pure Deathwing army. He had like 10 Blackwing Knights, the bodyguard guys, and a bunch of other.
No, that's not a. Are you talking about the Deathwing Knights or the Bike Knights?
The Deathwing Knights.
Okay.
The Terminator ones.
All right.
Because there's the.
You got the Black Knights, which are the bike ones, and then you've got the Deathwing Knights, which they come with the maces that are basically thunder hammers without the minus to hit.
Yeah, he had 10 of those, and then he had the normal Terminator squads, the shooting ones.
Uh-huh.
He had a 10-man squad, and he combat squadded 2 of those, so he had 30 Terminators. Plus smattering of Apothecary and all the other stuff, and even having all that psychic, like, he had a bunch of Watchers in the Dark, and he's like, I don't think I've ever actually had to use all of these in a game before. But he takes him on a bunch of them just because they're actually really worth the, like, what are they, 5 points?
They're 5 points for each Watcher in the Dark.
And they make their money back.
Oh, they do, because there's some pretty, like, if you're in range, you're pretty clutch, and you roll it, there's, like, even though you have a +1 to most of your casting, I still have that off chance because I don't run I have a Psyker that I can run, but I usually don't.
No, you don't want to.
As we reference the last video that I was in, which was the first of the year in January, and you'll see what I was talking about we went into very depth of how we could make my Deathwing Knights and my Deathwing list a lot more durable. I love my list because it's 40 Terminators. Yeah, the Flamers are good this edition because 7 and 8 they were crap, and I'm tempted to switch out one of my Terminators in my Terminator Assault Squad and give him a heavy Flamer just for that little extra oomph in the charge because the Lightning Claw Squad has nothing for range.
But yeah, no, for the Thousand Suns, like, their melee punch, they don't have a lot of melee presence. Like, your melee presence is basically the Terminators, which, in all honesty, like, yeah, they could definitely kill stuff in melee, but you'd rather not see them there.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Chaos Spawn, you have Magnus himself, who, we don't want to talk about Magnus in the new book.
I would have brought, like, if you had brought Magnus, the Morkanaut would have just been like, he's my first and only target for right now. I don't care if I go kaboom boom.
That's everybody, and he...
Well, he's the biggest thing, and he's the biggest threat.
And the saddest part is, like, he's the biggest thing, and he just folds to any kind of pressure. Because, like, he has the 4-up invuln. Sure, he can give -1 to hit. He has -1 damage. But
when I'm whipping out 3 damage apiece with each rocket.
Well, that's just it. And, I mean, like, any concentrated fire, he's not that durable. Like, he's toughness 7. Like, if he got the Morty treatment and actually was toughness 8, he'd be more justifiable. But at 450 points... I'm going to take Be'lakor in every game because he's 100 times better right now. And he's 90 points less.
You said 480?
450.
450. That's 70 points less.
Yeah. And I would take that in a heartbeat over it.
The big things I would change would be to drop out the Grot squad, the 20 Grots. Because, yes, they sit there and they sit on the objective and they get the nice shiny bits. But I could have, if I didn't want to bring him, I could have brought my flash kits and then I'd have to build another squad.
I would probably swap out, like, if I was trying to be more, like, aggressive and competitive, I would probably drop at least a Flamer squad. For more of the Bolter rubrics, because they're cheaper. Like, 10 of those Flamers is almost, like, 260 points. but they're good flamers, and you can give them all a bunch of buffs. Like I can actually get the base flamers to what's it, strength 6, I think.
Okay.
But which normally you only need the one, and you can give both like between the Infernal Master and the spell, you can actually give both squads strength 5 flamers at AP -2. Like you can do damage with them, and then like you can I like the flamers because you can Overwatch, and then you can do the Ausspec scan basically if something deep strikes. So you're just like I'm gonna turn that up, I'm gonna torch that and torch that, but no one's that dumb usually.
Oh, there was a Grey Knight player I was playing against, and he brought his Storm Librarian, the Super Librarian. He dropped it within 9 inches of my 10-man brick. I didn't even get to the Cyclone missile launchers. I just birded him off of the field. In the tactical doctrine, I just birded him off of the field.
Well, it's funny because we ended up moving away from it, but we were gonna do for the Adepticon team tournament, which is always a good time. We were gonna play our 4-player team of Orks, and I don't own Orks, so I was gonna borrow some from a buddy of mine. And my list was just because it's like, well, our goal is we're just gonna get drunk and have super fun. So my goal is just gonna put 10 Burna Boys and 10 knobs with scorches, combi scorches in a battle wagon and just teleport it and go, that's dead. It would be super funny. It would be terrible, but it would be super funny.
Yeah, no, the sorcerer though was even though the one thing I have to say about the spells, the fact that they're forcing you to have to roll 6s. That's a little dickish to get the mortal wounds.
Oh, that one spell, like I said, 25 dice for the Baleful Devolution, which normally, each 6 is D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
And it's a base minimum of 8, but normally you don't miss 25 dice on that. 25 dice and not a single 6.
Yeah, you pull out 25 dice and I'm like...
Well, it was 13 and then 12. And it was
but I'm sitting there like, I don't think my 5-0 pinball can do this.
Well, your dice in general weren't your friend. You even perilled.
You perilled twice.
3 times.
3 times, yeah.
So, yeah.
I managed to ignore it twice, but the third time I was just, well, we're just going to take it. But thankfully I never pilled on doubles once. Like, it was always the bigger one, but... Because I actually don't think I ever failed a Psychic Spell the game.
No, you didn't fail a single Psychic Spell in the game, and I'm just sitting here like...
But I didn't do any damage with a bunch of the stuff that normally... Like the fact that you were Death Skulls and had the 5-up ignore.
Yep.
Which was also great against the Black Templars player I played yesterday, where I didn't... It was just an uphill battle against that, because that had the Feel No Pain as well.
Yep, the Feel No Pains are massive.
Oh, God, yeah.
But, referencing the last video I was in, Terminators should have transhuman.
I would not argue that.
All Terminators should have permanent transhuman. Yes, we'd see a lot more Terminator lists, but...
That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, because then you have the opposite of the meta that has a larger list of mine that's just there to get shot, because I lost 20 guys in a matter of a turn.
Well, even Thousand Suns, like, the standard, more or less, like, go-to list has been, like, 10 Terminators, and how many rubrics can you shove in the list, basically, and just play to the mission as much as possible, which, don't get me wrong, it's how that was all I did for that Black Templars match yesterday. I'm like, well, I'm not going to kill you, so we're just going to play and try and squeeze as much points out of this as we can.
I will say that I did benefit from you getting brain drained from the tournament.
Oh, I don't think I was much for brain drained here. I made a few mistakes, but, like, the biggest thing was, like, just couldn't roll to save nothing.
The dice were tired.
The dice were very tired.
Nuffle had said, they're tired. Give them a break.
Well, they'll get a break. Actually, they'll get a break after Monday, because I have League night on Monday.
Oh, no.
Well, and you're going to have to re-rack those dice for when we have our bigger battle, so...
Oh, yeah.
You talk nice to them.
I always have faith in my dice. They'll come back around. They'll have bad days. Everyone does.
Right on. Well, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, join the Horde, and we will see you in the next one.